Hey, what's up? It's Jim, and today I'm going to talk about My Father's Dragon. Now, this is the latest film from Cartoon Saloon, and is directed by Nora Taumi, who is probably the second most known director for the studio after Tom Moore. I've not seen Breadwinner, but I wanted to see this because I like Cartoon Saloon, and I had a weird experience with this film because we watched Cartoon Saloon films with my daughter. She's 5 at the time I'm recording this. And when we watched it, we got to a certain point, and she just was sort of done. It was too scary. It felt too weird, and she didn't want to watch it anymore. And I was a little surprised because this isn't like I showed her Texas Chainsaw Massacre. We liked Wolfwalkers a lot. We'd seen Secret of Kells and Song of the Sea. So I did feel like, it was not a crazy opinion to think that, hey, maybe she would like their latest movie. And that's not really sort of what worked out. So we had to stop it. I don't know if this is right for 5-year-olds. They probably should have. I do think streaming should have a thing, like if it's more children's skewing film, it should have like the age, what they feel are the right ages. I felt the same way about Ron's Gone Wrong, like similar situation where it's like you're selling it to kids, but it's not actually for like all kids. It's for like older kids, and you should have said that. I'm not against the film or anything. I don't think there should be a new rating. I just think when it's on streaming, there should be hey, this is the ages. That's all. Similar to TV ratings. But I like Cartoon Saloon. So what I'm about to say is not positive. But this film is sort of a mess. But I will say this, is it gives the vibe of one of those kind of 80s kind of kids movies that is a little weird, a little off, and you kind of gives you distinct memories from, and then you go back and watch, and you're like, that wasn't great, but it puts me in this weird mood, like, Return to Oz, I've often heard cited. I haven't seen that actually. Or I think I did when I was a kid, so just say I haven't. Never Ending Story, I think Dark Crystal, Labyrinth are put in there. Those are better than this. This, I think, has a lot of kind of basic narrative issues and is trying to do, I guess, sort of a Wizard of Oz thing, but sort of gives up on it, which I don't love. So what is the deal with... This film is basically about a kid who is in this kind of like western town or whatever, has a general store. The town goes bankrupt. They move to the big city somewhere. We do not know what year this is. I've heard people say it's the 80s, the 50s. They do not specify. They don't have a TV. It doesn't seem like TV's there, so maybe like before that, maybe not, because they're super poor, so maybe they can't afford a TV. So I don't know. It's like there's nothing to, unless there is somewhere and I missed it. But I did watch this twice, or once and a half, because my daughter stopped, so I rewatched. Anyway, but I didn't notice anything. And they are very poor in this. And they're poor, and then he's trying to make money. He finds a talking cat voiced by Whoopi Goldberg, and she tells him, oh, there's a dragon on this island, and he can help you or whatever. And then the rest of the movie is him on this island with this dragon who's being used to hold up this island that's always sinking. Ian McShane, who plays this monkey, is trying to kind of keep the island from sinking because it's always sinking, and is using the dragon who's voiced by Galen Matarazzo, I think. Kid from Stranger Things. I'm not good with last names, and I have a bad last name, so you think I would be able to pronounce them. But I'm not. I apologize. His name will be around here. And he voices the dragon. He does actually a really good job. I thought his casting was pretty inspired. Not feel that way, but I thought it was well cast for what the role was. But him and the father, I guess, go off and he rescues him, and they're trying to kind of find a better way to stop the island from sinking. And he's going to find money for his mom and the general store and stuff like that. So the basic thing with this is sort of trying to do a Wizard of Oz type plot. I know it is based on a book of the same name, but I don't think those quest things work unless you know exactly, particularly why the protagonist is on that journey. The protagonist in this, the kid Elmer, actually his name's Elmer, we don't really understand, like we think he's there to get money, but he seems like that gets dropped real early, which is like, I'm not saying he has, like I'm an evil capitalist or something, that like they have to go find money, but it's like you have to, like something, it has to be something, like like Dorothy needed to get home, Frodo needed the ring, something like that when you're on a quest like this. And like it just seemed like he wanted to help his friend the dragon, whom he just met and we had no emotional connection to before he found, and that was like we're just on this quest. It's just moving and barreling forwards, and it's not waiting any moments. And also the idea that this is called My Father's Dragon, we have really and the film never justifies why this film is called that. Like, you think, oh, he made a lot of money from this, and they're rich now, and that's why they always talk about this. No, not really. Oh, he made a story about this later, and he's always told this story. Nope, nothing. Why is this called that? I have no fucking clue. It just happened to his father, and she knew it somehow, I guess, whatever. It's just like, no, why'd you even call it that? The book was called that, sure, but like, you could have called this like Sinking Island Kids movie. Like, I don't understand. Like, you just can't name things random shit and like try to have like the teeniest bit of narrative connection and act like that is enough. Like it's frankly, I think a terrible narrative choice, because it just like why do that? Like it had nothing to do with that. So that's an issue. But I do like the world it's in. But I will say the world does feel weird and strange, and maybe that was the point. But this doesn't feel like a typical Cartoon Saloon film. And I know it's directed by a different director and stuff, but a typical one like has a weird concept, but sort of lives in it. You understand it, like Wolfwalkers, like Song of the Sea, like Secret Kills. You understand those worlds we're in. You know, as crazy as they are, you understand like, oh, there's this curse that turns them into wolves, and you get the logistics of it and everything like that. And this, it's like throwing you so many different concepts. You never get to sit with anything. It felt like I'm seeing a kind of cut down version of a longer series or something, or like the movie version of a series, and I didn't understand any of this context. Like, it just like it really rushed forward with it. And it's not that I didn't like the weird character, just like the weird, was it a crocodile or something where they had the little baby eye things? Like, that was cool. I liked like the rhinoceros, and I liked the dragon, and I did like the kid from Stranger Things. I thought he actually worked well for this kind of a character. I know people are like, oh, he's just playing like the typical character like this, but I actually thought that was like, he's pretty good at that. I thought he did a good performance. I thought Ian McShane did a good performance in this, especially. Like, that was interesting. Jacob Tremblay's in so many of these at this point. It's kind of like, dude, wow, can we get like average white boy somewhere else? But he's good at it, I will say. It does have good performances, and I do think it has a lot of talent behind the actual animation. Like, it's a beautiful film to look at. I was having a hard time connecting to it, frankly. I don't think it thought about anything other than doing this plot. Maybe she was very concerned with trying to do this book and do it as much as you could, and it did feel like kind of this off kids book that like someone would bring up, like, this is a kids book that I was really into, and it's this weird thing my parents didn't know I was reading it. It has that vibe throughout the entire thing, and that's an interesting vibe. And I will say, like, most kids films will talk about wanting to be that and like not fully succeed, and this definitely did that. I can totally see in 20 years someone bring this up randomly, and you wouldn't expect this to be an influence. Very much so, especially aesthetically, and because it's such a strained kind of movie. But this is definitely the worst Cartoon Saloon movie I've seen, and it's because like what I like about them is not just their animation, which I think is very good. I like how they take stories from long ago and present them to children now, and I think that's amazing. And I guess that's what they're trying to do. But I think the difference between those and this is that gives a specificity and emotional core to it. It gives it kind of life to it, lets it breathe. And My Father's Dragon did like none of that. And I think it was kind of a real weird off. It like felt like they didn't know what made Cartoon Saloon so great as a studio, which is unfortunate. I think if you like them, I would say you should see this movie. But I don't think it's for young children, obviously, because that didn't work out for me. I would say if you enjoyed Wolfwalkers, because I know a lot of people watch Wolfwalkers with younger kids than 5, and they loved it. I don't think this is for that crowd. I don't think it's maybe trying to be, but it is kind of like, I think, for that kind of older kids who, want to be shocked by their entertainment and a little more and stuff. It is an interesting kids film, and it's an interesting animated film, and we don't get enough of those. And I'm not trying to just like, oh, it's unique, so we should like this kind of crap. But it was like, this is a very unique kind of film, and I do appreciate it for that. I don't think that came together as well as it should have. I don't think the story was there, and I don't think it made a lot of sense what they were doing. So I'm sadly disappointed and really not into My Father's Dragon, but I'm still excited to see the next Cartoon Saloon thing, and I've passionately liked everything from them, and so I guess this is just one that it didn't work out for me. I'm going to try to see Breadwinner within the next year, so I know this director better. I'm still glad that Cartoon Saloon is doing what they're doing, but I just really felt that this was a really off film, and they kind of missed what made Cartoon Saloon so special, and missed what would ultimately make this film so special and land with people, other than kind of weird, odd, interesting vibes and beautiful animation. It almost always felt like Cartoon Saloon had a lot more, and unfortunately this film did not. So if you have seen My Father's Dragon and you would like to talk about it, then comment below in the comments and subscribe if you would like to.